Good day, Kai Lifers! My name's Kai, and this is an in-depth review of the Chessnut Air electronic chess set. Welcome to Kai Life! Yes, welcome on in. If you're new to the channel, or I finally slid right into your algorithm DMs. My name's Kai, and I make tech, gaming, and chess content, and I assume you tick at least one of those three boxes, so welcome to the channel. Now, today's Kai Live video is sponsored by my very own February and March competition, so if you fancy winning yourself a brand spanking new 8-bit Do Pro 2 controller to game with, then click on the card the top right hand corner. Right, so what is the Chessnut Air electronic chess set? What can it do? What can't it do? Now, as a tech or chess lover, is it something that'll improve your game or enhance your chess experience? Chess experience, if you like? No? Okay. Now, the first thing to say is that I purchased the Chessnut Air with my own hard-earned digital cash. But as with all of my tech reviews with a product that I purchased myself, I'll always make sure to check myself whilst reviewing it. And what I mean by that is that it's easy for people to be biased when they're analysing and reviewing something that they've invested in. And I put in serious effort to make sure that I remove that approach so I can be real with you guys about the cons as well as the pros. Okay. Let's get stuck in, shall we? Now, the Chessnut Air is an electronic chessboard that boasts some really cool features internally, as well as when paired via Bluetooth to your phone, Mac or PC. It's got a high quality textured wood frame, although the board itself isn't wooden, and it measures 13 inches by 13 inches with a height of 0.7 inches. So it's a really decent size while still being portable enough to take it out and about for over-the-board games IRL. The bells and whistles of the Chessnut Air, though, relates to the fact that the board has full, reliable piece recognition. Now, that means that the board is able to detect exactly what piece is on any square at any one time, and that opens up a whole raft of really cool features. See, with the Chessnut Air, not only does it have the capability to accurately record any games you play against another human over the board, but it also enables you to play against online players on chess.com and Lichess with discrete LEDs on the board telling you where your opponent has moved. That is very cool. Now, if humans aren't really your thing, or you want to practice whilst protecting your precious elo, you can also play against chess.com and Lichess's bots, or against one of 3 bots, Stockfish, Maya, and Lichess Zero on the Chessnut app itself. Now, for more detail on those 3 bots, click the card in the top right-hand corner right now. Let's talk about the box and what you get. Now, I say it all the time in things that I review, if I really appreciate the packaging that it comes in. And I'm a sucker for it. I'm a sucker for it. Someone called me out on one of the videos and said, I think this is like a symbolism of capitalism gone mad. I don't care. I'm here for it, man. The packaging for this is lush. It's really, really nice. It comes in this lovely black box that has this sort of textured chessboard style graphic on the front. Really nice premium packaging. I always appreciate that, and I think we all appreciate that. It gives me as a consumer, I'm sure it gives you as a consumer as well, confidence about the product inside if the packaging itself is nice and feels premium. Inside you also get an instruction manual that's essentially just a setup guide. There's not too many things to get to grips with the Chessnut Air. It's fairly simple to use, but it is good to know what the buttons do on the side of the board because they're multifunctional. There aren't necessarily a whole raft of different buttons, but otherwise it's fairly navigable. It's easy to understand how it works. Yeah, you get a USB-C cable, obviously, because you get a USB-C charging port in the side of the Chessnut Air here, somewhere along here. There it is. You can feel it's right there. And of course, you get your black and white pieces with a spare queen to boot. The pieces themselves feel really, really nice. They're not too heavy, they're fairly lightweight, and they have a felt base, and this is where the magic happens in terms of where the chip is held, so that the piece is recognized by the board and vice versa, so there's always that detection and the board always knows what piece is on what square. Now, what I will say early on is it's great to have the extra queen in case you manage to promote one of your pawns to be a queen, but if you do that twice and you need another queen, well, there isn't one. And the thing is, if you're playing with the idea of having piece detection, then you can't just simply use another piece or a prop in place of the queen, because obviously the board won't detect it. So you're going to need to get more chips. You can do that. You can buy from Chessnut themselves, and I'll put a link in the description. You can buy chips so that you can attach them to more pieces, but Essentially, yes, if you're playing a game that's over the board and you're using the piece tracking, or you're playing online, an online game with chess.com or Lichess, and well, you come into the situation where you're going to need to have 2 promoted pawns, 2 extra queens, that is an issue. So let's talk about the physical interface, including the buttons on the side of the Chessnut Air. Now, before you record your over-the-board or online game, you want to make sure the board is charged, which you can do with the included USB-C cable. It charges genuinely fast and gives you enough power to play roughly 14 games, but obviously this number is completely dependent on how long each game lasts. You've got your power button, which also acts as turning the Bluetooth connection on, a plus button, which acts as the game start, record, or end record button, and LEDs, which help to communicate various connection and power states. So let's talk about the over-the-board element first. So the Chessnut Air can record an entire game without being connected to a phone or computer, so that you can send the PGN, which is the name of the file that contains all of the moves played in a game, to your phone or computer at a later time. Now, the board can store up to 50 games internally, way more than you'll ever need to store before offloading. Now, of course, you can use this as a pure analog chessboard, so to speak. If you don't have any desire to record games internally, you don't have to, in which case, just don't turn the board on. So once you turn the board on, the board's yellow status LED won't light up until all of the pieces are in the correct position to start a game. Now, that yellow LED is accompanied by a nice loud beep, which you can turn off in the app settings, by the way, to signify that 1, your pieces are in the correct place, and 2, that it is now ready to record a game. Now, the LEDs on the board will also be lit here on the front, with each one being extinguished as you correctly place the pieces on their correct square. It's a really nice feature that just helps to quickly and efficiently start a new game or reset the board. So let me show you that here. I'm just going to turn the power button on the side. So I hold it for 3 seconds. I can't actually see what I'm doing right now, but I'm going to assume, and I just got a beep. And that beep is because all of the pieces are in the correct position and ready to go. As you can see, I can't see this. Oh no, I can see this because I'm monitoring it next to me. As you can see, the yellow status LED is like, bam, good to go. And so now what I'll do is I'll press the plus button, this second one along, and that will tell the Chessnut Air, start recording what happens now. So start recording the game. So if I would take a piece off the board right now, haven't started a game obviously. If I put it back on, that's the board telling me, okay, now we're ready to start a game. It's a really, like I say, it's a really nice little feature that just tells you, I mean, you know, if you, for some reason, I say for some reason, you know, if you're new to chess, you're not sure how to set up the board, and you've got the bishop and the knight the wrong way round, like so. Then you get no beep. There's no beep telling you they're ready. If I put these the other way around again, the board says, brilliant, everything's ready to go, and then you can start playing your game. So pressing the plus button on the side will then tell the board to start recording moves, and once your game is finished, holding that same plus button for 3 seconds commits that game to the internal memory. Now at this point, if you've got the board already connected to your phone, PC or Mac via Bluetooth, you can immediately import the game ready to analyze within Chestnut's own app, or you can of course import the PGN to chess.com, Lichess, ChessBase, or your app of choice to analyze and dissect your game. Now, because the PGN is stored, you can also use over-the-board analysis if you want to critique your game over the board, rather than just with the bird's eye view of a digital engine. Now, the LEDs will come into play here, lighting up to show you the moves in sequence as they were played in the game itself. Now with the Chessnut Air, the lit LEDs will be those of the piece that's active and the square that that piece is being moved to. But bear in mind that reviewing a game isn't limited to your own games and your own PGN. So this is a really cool way to review classic or high-level Grandmaster games to get a really good understanding of move selection, but with that over-the-board perspective. Now speaking of the LEDs, when you're playing a live game, either online against a human or a bot, or when you're reviewing a game, you must stick to the move designated by your opponent. So if you move any other piece than the one that your opponent has moved, the game cannot continue. The same LEDs will remain lit up until you play the move played. So if you've blundered your queen and your opponent sees it, fat chance on just pretending that didn't happen and playing a different move for your opponent. Now that same beep that tells you that your pieces are in the right position is also present for when check and checkmate occur, but again you can turn that off if you don't want an oral reminder of impending doom. Now, before we delve into the coolest feature, which is playing via chess.com and Lichess, let's go through the fact that you can play over the board against one of 3 bots within the Chessnut app itself. So with Maya and Stockfish, you can set the bot to a dedicated elo level so that you're playing against a specific strength of bot. And with all 3 of them, you can dial in the engine's search depth. Basically, how smart do you want to make this thing? So the deeper it can search, basically the deeper you're allowed to think, the further ahead it'll be able to assess its moves. Now, I love this feature personally because it gives me an opportunity to compete against deep strategy, which is ideal for pattern recognition and recall, and absorbing for when you play against flesh and bone. Now, within the app is also a career mode, which is a pretty bare bones version of a way to measure your own elo and progress. The more you play, the harder the bot becomes, and you're given an elo rating that reflects your ability against the bot. Now, I actually quite enjoy this as an organic way to measure my progress and put my theory and study into practice without picking a specific elo rated bot and either getting slapped down or obliterating it and feeling smug for beating a bot with all the chess acumen of a brick. Yeah, Martin, I'm looking at you. It also gives you a really good way to sort of measure where your elo's at without actually damaging it by playing in a competitive game on chess.com and Lichess. Okay, so let's see this in action. I want to show you all the various features so you can actually see the board working. Now, I think, is the board still on? Oh, it's not on that side. The board is still on. Okay, so first of all, I'm going to connect it to the Chessnut app. So I'm going to open the Chessnut app on my phone, and I'm going to press this power button once, and that will turn on Bluetooth, and that will give a flashing blue light. So I go to the Bluetooth symbol in the corner, connect, and now the board is connected to my phone. It tells me the battery level, it tells me the Bluetooth version, the firmware, and whether there are any files to import into the phone. Bear in mind that this app exists on Mac. You can obviously use it on your iPad because it's the same app. It's iOS, PC, Android, every platform. So we're now connected to the board. I'll show you a little bit of what it can do. So let's put the board back round this way. This might actually not end up being the way that we need it to be. Hopefully you're going to see the LEDs and you're not going to be blinded by the light, so to speak. So on my phone, I'm going to go to online match, and it will show me lichess.org or chess.com. I'm going to click chess.com. I'm already logged in, and I'm going to start a match against a bot. So I'm going to click play bots. Here are all the bots then on chess.com. Now, obviously, if you've got a subscription to chess.com, you'll get access to all of the bots. You can choose one. Let's keep it to Martin. Let's make sure that this isn't utterly embarrassing for me. And we'll do play. Now I'm going to do I play as white, just so we've got the pieces in the right way. I'm going to keep this visible for you. In fact, I'm going to just move this across and have my phone there. And you can see how instant this is. Now, bear in mind, this is connecting to chess.com's servers. So let's start with, we'll do a Vienna. And as you can see, it's immediately told me now that Martin has moved the pawn on the C file, so C7 to C5, and that LED there is lit up behind that C7 pawn to say, this piece, I want it moved to there. So I'll move that piece to there. Done. And now I can have my move. So now I'm going to move, okay, doing a Sicilian. I'm going to keep it nice and simple. In fact, you know what? I'm going to stick to my Vienna. And immediately, look at the immediate response. That was straight away. It's so cool. So finishes playing. And now I can make my move. I'm going to bring out my bishop. Martin brings his knight out. I'm going to bring my pawn forward and protect my e-pawn. Martin brings his e-pawn forwards. I am going to bring out my... I'm going to bring out my bishop straight away, in fact. See if we can pin his knight there. He thought about that for a while and then thought about attacking. So I'm going to take his knight. So on it goes. Knight comes off. And takes back with the queen. But you can see this is instantaneous. It is instantaneous. And listen, some of you might be watching this and saying, why wouldn't you just play the game on your phone? And obviously there is an argument for that. I am not going to say that that is not a valid argument. But if you want the added dimension of playing over the board, then this makes for a really unique experience. Now, those of you that play chess on chess.com or Lichess or online on any platform will testify to the fact that it is completely different from playing chess over the board. So when you play it over the board, it's a completely different perspective. It's a completely different way of seeing lines. It's harder to see lines, arguably, over the board than it is when you have that perfect digital bird's eye view. So having this is awesome. And obviously, when you play like this, you don't need to refer to the phone. So I'm showing you this side by side so you can see how instantaneous the feedback is and the reaction is. But when I'm playing like this, I won't have my phone sitting next to me like this. I will to select the bot, but once I'm playing, then I'm playing. I don't necessarily need to have a look at this, and I won't look at this. I'll just carry on playing. I'll look at the LEDs on the board. Martin's deciding to move the G pawn forwards. All of these work, so we go for our castle. It recognizes on chess.com, recognizes the castle. Martin doesn't like that, or is looking to rotate the queen and moves back, and so on and so on. It's that easy. It's that straightforward, and it works perfectly every single time. I have not had, with the many games that I've been playing with this on chess.com, either against an opponent, a human opponent, or a bot, there has been no problem, no glitch, no connection dropout, no misreading of moves. It has been flawless, and I did not think I'd be saying that to you. Usually there is a bug somewhere. Usually something goes wrong. Nothing has gone wrong when I've been playing over the board connected to chess.com or Lichess. It has been flawless. That hasn't meant that there hasn't been things that have come up that haven't been flawless. But in terms of playing against a bot on chess.com or on Lichess, it has been flawless for me with the Chessnut Air. Okay, so let's move this on so we can get into a position where I can show you the check squeak. Okay, Martin's deciding to move his king, which is it's an interesting strat, very interesting strat. Let's move out the queen and start pushing, shall we? Pawn comes forwards. That's not really going to do anything. Will we take? I just kind of want to get the beeping happening. Let's push that queen forward. So I assume that that pawn's going to come forwards. No, the king's gone back. That's an interesting move. Okay, well then let's go into check. King's moved rather than taking with the queen. So let's take the rook and have a discovered check. And as you can see, the board beeps to tell the bot Martin, who doesn't care, that he's in check. So as you see, it works brilliantly. And it really does make for a really interesting experience. I'm gonna resign versus Martin, which is slightly embarrassing. So if I want to go through and review my game against Martin then, so I've clicked to look on the game, I've gone back to the beginning of the moves list, and as you can see now on the board only has the lights lit up on the squares that don't have the piece that should be on it. So the lights that are off are all ready to go. So as you can see, all of these pieces still on their home square, and as I put the pieces, so as I put this pawn on here, that light goes off. So what I do is now just set everything up in the right place. And once everything is back on its, everything is back on its square. As you can see, all of the lights extinguish as they go back to their starting squares. So I'm at the first move here, which was my E4 opening. And as you can see, the LEDs are lit up to show me that that was my first move. And then I can go through to Martin's next move, and then the next move along, which was my knight on B1, and so on and so on. Now, obviously, you can do this with any PGN, so you can review any game and go through it move by move. And as I say, it's just, for me, it's a really unique way of being able to easily import a game, but then have the traditional over-the-board perspective to be able to review or play through that game. Especially as you can import a PGN file and then choose, of course, to continue from that state playing against AI, which again is another awesome way to just incorporate that digital element of chess.com, but also that traditional over-the-board element that the Chessnut Air gives you when you're playing chess. You've also got a clock function in the app, so if you're playing an over-the-board game with someone and you want to have a clock, you don't have a clock, but you want to have that time constraint, you can hit the clock button in the app. You can choose, you can edit the board so you can have any setup that you like, and then you hit start, and the game starts, the time starts, and as soon as white moves, the clock switches to black, they make their move, and as you can see, all of the feedback from the app itself is instantaneous. And like I say, you're not necessarily looking at the app for the moves, but you have the clock facing towards each person, so you can make your moves. It's just a really cool way to have that clock function. You've got your digital version here. Obviously, you can record the game, but it's all instantaneous. Again, the feedback is just perfect. Now, I genuinely love the Chessnut Air, and I use it all the time, way more than I thought I was going to. I am very, very guilty of buying and getting excited by pieces of tech and then owning them, and after a couple of weeks, they're just gathering dust and not getting used at all. And I'm not gonna lie to you, I thought this was gonna be that, but it hasn't been. I use this all the time, I really do. I take it out with me. In fact, if I just bring the pieces off the board here so I can demonstrate this. It's not heavy. It's, like I say, it feels like good quality. It's got felt at the bottom, so it's protected against hard surfaces on it, but it's not heavy. It fits in a bag, so I'll take this out with me. It's a conversation starter, but at the same time, it's really classy looking. Like I say, it's got the lovely detail, the wooden edge to the board. The LEDs, when they're extinguished, actually are very discreet. I mean, no one ever sees that these are here unless obviously they're on, but I mean, that's very, seldom happens when I'm in public and playing an over-the-board game. The only way that you'd know that this is an e-board is because of the controls along the side, and it easily fits in a bag. Now, it is a bit awkward because it's 13 inches by 13, so it won't just fit in a standard laptop bag. It's a bit too tall for it, so you might want to make sure that you've got a bag. If you do want to take it out with you, you've got a bag that fits it. I think Chessnut, in fact, sell bags themselves that fit their various chessboards, so do have a look on their website. And you can have a look to see whether there is a bag, a protective bag for this and the pieces, so you can take it out and about with you. Now, I did say to you at the top though, it's really important to me that I'm honest with you about the things that I don't like. And there are two things. There are only two things. Now, the first thing is more of a quality of life thing. Now, I kind of would have liked it if there were more than just one spare queen per color set. And I say that because, listen, you might not get many games where you want to promote, well, you get to promote 2 pawns to a queen, but it will happen. It does happen in chess. And if it happens in this and you're playing an online game, you're playing on chess.com or Lichess, you're kind of screwed. You're kind of screwed because, like I say, you need to have the chip in the base for the board to recognize that it's a queen. And you can't do that if essentially you don't have enough queens, even though you've legally promoted your pawn. Then you're kind of stuffed. There's not really anything you can do. So I would have liked to have had either more spare pieces, maybe more than just queens, maybe duplicates of all of the main pieces aside from the pawns, or maybe some extra chips and felt included. Now, you can buy this from Chessnut themselves. And the cool flip side to this is obviously you can buy the felt and you can buy the chips. So if you come across a really nice chess set, or you have a really nice chess set with some really nice pieces that you want to use with this, you can just DIY those pieces to make them detectable on the board. But obviously that's extra effort and it's extra cost, and it's not included within the original purchase of the Chessnut Air itself. Now, the second thing is something that is slightly more annoying because it's more of a bug rather than a quality of life feature, and it pertains to playing over the board and recording over the board games. Now, the Chessnut Air does not like illegal moves. It doesn't like them. And I don't mean in terms of, oh, this is really annoying because it plays by the rules and adheres to the boundaries of chess. What I mean is that if you're playing a game and one of you mistakenly makes a move and it's not legal, the Chessnut Air will go "Brrr," and just stop recording the game. But you won't know that until you go to review the game afterwards, and you'll see that the game just stopped at that move. It just stopped there. So you might mistakenly, innocently, you know, you're moving a piece and then you're like, I'll put it there. Oh no, I can't do that. I can't do that. The board will just say, sorry man, I'm detecting that you're putting your piece there and you can't do that, and brrr, and it stops recording the game. So if that happens on like move 15 of like a 40 move game, tough luck. When you go to review that PGN, it will be stuck on move 15. I don't like that. I don't like that. Now, within the app is the ability to change the sensitivity of the board itself. And that is a cool thing because it means that it allows for sliding pieces. You know, not all of us and not everyone picks up a piece and puts it down. Some people want to slide across. So you can change the detection time in milliseconds. And that is a cool feature. So like I say, it allows for sliding. But like I say, there are times and there are moments where the board, if it detects something awry, rather than just saying, don't worry about that, Kyle, Live, have another go. It's just like, nah, I ain't playing, bro, and then stops recording the game. And that has been annoying because there have been times where I have played a game and I've been like, yeah, I can't wait to see the review. And I'm like, that game was longer than 8 moves. So 2 things, really. One is a quality of life thing that isn't too much of a pain. The other thing has been slightly game-breaking at times. If there's a solution and I'm missing it and someone knows what it is, then please let me know. But it's happened. It hasn't happened all the time, but it's happened a few times, and it's been something I've been wary of where I've played games against people and said, just to let you know, try not to make an illegal move because I'm recording the game and it won't work if you do. That aside, can I recommend the Chessnut Air? Yes. If you love chess and you love tech, yes. If you love chess and you don't really care about tech, I'd still say yes. I think it's a really fresh approach. Now, I love playing on chess.com from my phone. It's great. And you can play it from, you have the benefit and the convenience of being able to play it from anywhere. You can play it on your sofa, you can play it in bed, you can play it when you're in the toilet. I do that more than I care to admit, although I just have admitted it. I hope Boo's not watching this. You can play it when you're on the train, whatever. And you can't do that with the board. Fair enough. But it makes playing chess.com or Lichess games on the board so much more interesting, so much more. It's a completely fresh approach. And it also improves your over the board game. It really, really does. The different perspective, you know, not having that digital bird's eye, high contrast view and having a different view, it really does improve your game, and it really allows you to see tactics and strategy in a completely different light and in a completely different way than you'd see it on your phone or on your computer. So I really do recommend it. And the Chessnut Air costs £207, I think, at the moment, directly from Chessnut themselves. You can also buy it from Amazon. And I think that's really reasonably priced. It's a premium product. It feels premium. It doesn't feel cheap. It holds up really well. It's presented very, very well. There are more complicated and more premium e-chess sets that are out now. And in fact, it's becoming a more and more saturated market. So Chessnut themselves sell higher end spec boards, including one that has it's a bigger board and it has a digital screen on it. So rather than having to use a phone or anything else, it can just directly connect within itself, which is really, really cool, but not something I need. I don't need the extra board real estate. Also, some of the more premium boards don't have this traditional chessboard look. I really like the fact that this looks like a traditional chessboard. I think it's a really classy look. And obviously, all of those other chessboards are a lot more expensive. And I think £200 is reasonable. Like I say, you have to ask yourself, am I going to use it? Is there a reason to use it? And hopefully this video is helping you to make the decision of, as someone that loves chess and plays a lot of chess, yes, I thought, I had in the back of my mind, this is going to be a novelty purchase. I shouldn't do it. I did do it. I winced slightly when I bought it. And it hasn't been a novelty purchase. I absolutely love it. And I'm really loving using it out and about when I'm playing over the board games, and also just to use to analyze my own games and to play solo when I'm at home. Right, that brings this review of the Chessnut Air electronic chess set to a close. Let me know in the comments what you thought. Are you a chess lover? Do you have this? Are there things you love about it? Are there things you don't love so much? Do you have a different chess set? What do you think about this and how do you think it compares to it? What are you looking forward to having come out in this arena? If you haven't already, drop that like, subscribe to the channel, guys. It means so much to me, and we're on that journey towards 20K and beyond. And I'm looking to try and get my teeth into more Chessnut products because I love this board. I love what these guys are doing. So yeah, subscribe to the channel. Let me know what you want to see, and let's see if we can get them reviewed. Until the next time and until the next video, enjoy the rest of your morning, afternoon, evening. Take care, much love, and peace out.